Welcome back to AFL Today, and this is a face you haven't seen before. I am Marcus. don't laugh, stats guy. I am Marcus, and I'm here to create my SuperCoach team for this season. Very excited for the season ahead, kicking off on Thursday night between Sydney and Melbourne. And of course, with the defence, we have to start off with Nick Dacos. I think everyone will have him in. He's a must-have. Obviously, just racks up the ball off half-back and perhaps get a little bit of midfield time as well. Next up, talking about midfield time, I'm going to go Hayden Young. Not many people, I assume quite a few people might have him. I'm using the wrong keyboard there. Hayden Young, there we go, 525, 42% of people. I think he's a handy pick to have. It's either him or another sort of primo option that you're looking for, but considering you get midfield minutes, I'm going Hayden Young. Next up, we're going towards the more cheaper side of things here. We're going to go Zach Williams. Obviously, very cheap, return from injury from Carlton. Be interesting to see how he goes, but considering he is so cheap, he could be up for value very soon if he has a couple of handy games. And as you saw there, 40% of people have him, so he's definitely a good inclusion. Now we're going for sort of rookie prices here. I'm going to go for Daniel Curtin from the Adelaide Crows. 34% of people have him, projected round one score of 31. The boys are looking at me side-eyeing there. Next up, Josh Gibcus. Obviously, I assume Stats Guy and I assume Leo had him in his team as well. 52% of people, obviously, a must-have cheap option. He'll play every game for the Richmond Tigers this season now that Robbie Tarrant, boo, has retired. Nick Caulfield next. Stats Guy mentioned him as well on his side. Super cheap for someone who has AFL experience previously at St Kilda. 123,000. Definitely play for the Dogs and will definitely get your points. So watch out for an early pay rise there. Now we move to the bench. I didn't have Zach Reid, even though I am an Essendon fan, but I have got Toby Pink. Stats Guy would love. Another cheap option there. Good to get in your team. Only 19% of people have him, which is a bit surprising for me. And then I've gone Sam Closely as well from the Gold Coast Suns. Only 5% of people. Just another really cheap option to get in there before we head into some more premium options later on the field with some little bit more expensive forwards than a lot of other teams. But we'll move into the midfield now. Bontempelli, have to get him in. Probably a Brownlow favourite, you'd think, heading into the season, although there's going to be plenty of others coming up against him. Like this man, Christian Petrarco is in this number 3 spot. Only 21% of people have him. Projected score of 121. Racks up plenty of the ball, will get you 25-30 as well as 2 goals as well. Goals are massive from midfield, and he can definitely provide on that front. And I'm going for a ball magnet here, and it's going to be Tom Green from GWS. Only 28% of people have him, had an average of 111, sort of a breakout season for Tom Green last year. And I'm expecting him to back it up again here. Even though he's got a little bit of competition, he gets in, gets the hard ball, so gets plenty of touches. So Tom Green for me. And another person who gets plenty of touches, reigning Brownlow medalist Lachie Neale. Dual Brownlow medalist now. Similar average to Tom Green. Only 4% owned though, which is a little bit surprising considering he just won the Brownlow medal. But at home, at the Gabba, you can expect him to get plenty of the ball, and away from home, he leads that Brisbane midfield. Next up, we've got a young Port Adelaide midfielder who is superb. Connor Rozee. Stats Guy went Zach Butters. I think Connor Rozee is just a little bit better. 11% of people own him at the moment. And a projected round one score of 132. Plays the West Coast Eagles first up, which could be a very, very good score for Connor Rozee, as well as Zach Butters. So either or, you could probably fit either of those in your team. I wouldn't go both though. Now, the only Essendon player in this squad as an Essendon fan, I'm going to go Nick Martin. People have convinced me he's playing off the halfback now, new role. He's going to get plenty of the ball, especially with Jordan Ridley now injured. He's probably one of the better kicks in the defence. 21% of people have him, and he will definitely increase from that average of 88. I believe in the practice match against Geelong, he scored just over 100. Don't quote me on that, but Nick Martin for me as sort of your mid-priced midfielder, probably a little bit of a point of difference there as well. And then now for the rookies, we're going to go McKercher from North Melbourne. 62% of people own him. Don't have to say too much. A lot of people have him on their backs, and I recommend him as well. And then also Riley Sanders, who was superb in the pracky as well. So we're going to chuck him in there. 69% of people have him. He racked up plenty of the ball in the practice match. And even though he's got a bit of a midfield to contend with, I think him and Macrae will swap midfield forward sort of minutes. So I think Riley Sanders is a great pick. And now heading to the bench, we're going to go Wilson from St Kilda. Only 130,000, again, highly owned, but he's just another good cheap option off the bench. Probably wouldn't be my emergency to start with. I would probably have this man, Jordan Clark, as the emergent, not Jordan Clark, where is it? Jai Clark. 120,000, owned by 50% of people. Only averaged 13 last season, obviously only played the one game. So he's in there, would probably be my emergency as well, as I just mentioned. And then I'm going to go Jeremy Sharp from the Fremantle Dockers. Didn't play a game last year, obviously 43% owned. Could definitely get some minutes. He could also feature as an emergency on that midfield bench, but it just has to be then. And then the rucks, I think everyone's going the same ruck combo here this year. I think everyone's team is virtually very similar, minus a couple of rookies. But Max Gawn will be my premium ruckman and could arguably captain for some games. Not for round one. He plays the Dogs, plays Tim English, who is also very good in his own right. Tim English up here, but he's just a little bit too expensive for my liking. Tim English, although he does get a lot of the ball. And Max Gawn did have, I believe, 188 or 190 SuperCoach points against Carlton in the practice match. Just racks up plenty of the ball and is able to kick a goal or two as well in that Melbourne team. And next up, his former ruck partner, Brodie Grundy, although it didn't work out that well, they're going to find their value here in their own individual teams. Brodie Grundy, obviously superb at Collingwood when he was the sole ruckman, and 55% of people own him here, and I expect he's going to have a big year at Sydney, and I think he will thrive in that Sydney midfield. And then for the backup, a lot of people have gone Naismith. I've just stuck with Jordan Sweet to start. It's either Sweet or Naismith on that bench, but I've gone Sweet, 12% owned, but you know what, I think you can get some valuable points and a little bit of a pay rise there that you can put in for other areas of the ground, because I believe Gawn and Grundy are just going to be there all year. And now we move along to the forwards to finish off. And my forwards, just having a look on my team here, I've gone with Jack Macrae, little injury doubt, but he's a ball magnet. He's notorious for just averaged just under 100 last year. But I'm putting faith in him here. I believe he will play round one, and they might need his experience in the midfield against the Demons there. Then Sam Flanders has been the talk of the forward picks in SuperCoach and from Damien Hardwick, who thinks every Gold Coast Suns player will be in their premiership squad. We'll go 26% owned, 88 average last year. I think he's just going to increase above that. A lot more role was going to be lifted on his shoulders, so he's going to have to fill in there. James Jordan as well, another Swans player, mid-forward, dual position, 275k, 49% of people own him. I average just the 49, but I think at a new club in Sydney, I think he can average up towards that 70 mark, 70, 75, possibly even pushing 80 to 90. And then everyone's number one man in the forward line, Harley Reid. Obviously, 74% of people own him. Not too much to say on Harley Reid. You obviously got to get the number one draft pick in, and what looks like to be the best number one draft picked of all time, especially hype, has gone around. And I'm going to go a North player here, another rookie, Zane Dersma. I think he was great in his early career at North Melbourne, especially in the practice matches. So 32% of people own him. He's going to slot straight into that team. Alex Sexton as well. I'm fitting all three, Alex Sexton, Nick Martin, and Sam Flanders in the side. Just at that price alone, he's too cheap to ignore. 133,000, average just the 23.9, but off that new role of halfback, he's going to get plenty of touches, plenty of points, so that's going to be a massive pay increase there. So Alex Sexton as a low value, high points getter for me in the forward line. And then to go to the bench, I'm going to go Nick Watson, the Wizard. Leo's favourite man. He's going to be my emergency on the forward line bench as well. 17% owned, but I think he can have a good start to his Hawthorn career. I believe he plays Essendon. Well, I know that for a fact, plays Essendon in round 1. So with their injuries as well, he should get a lot more higher role in that Hawthorn squad. And lastly, to finish off, we're going to go Shawnee Manor. Obviously great in the VFL grand final last year, and has shown what he can do a little bit in the practice matches as well. He scored a couple of nice goals against the Bombers, and 42% owned, projected score of 21, but he could be a sub for Geelong. We mentioned that off camera. He could be a handy option as an emergency, but I think Nick Watson will be my emergency in the forward line. And that rounds off my SuperCoach team for 2024. Let me know your thoughts in the comments.